Well, thanks to RugbyPass, we've got a new fan's voice, and it's brought to you by the All Blacks' new sponsor, Healthspan Elite.
Powering the fan's voice. Brought to you by Healthspan Elite, the official sports nutrition partner for the All Blacks.
And this was all about the combination of 10 and 15. Let's look at the poll. Let's look at the question that was asked. And pure and simply, is the 10-15 dual playmaker system the best way to power the All Blacks attack? 54% of you said yes, 46% of you said no. So there's a lot sitting on the fence here. We're not sure, maybe. We've talked about this at length. JK, you look in the weekend, it's been much talked about. We just heard from Fozzie talking about the role of Beauden Barrett and Richie Mo'unga. Is it the future? And should we continue, or are they going to continue to develop it?
I think the interesting thing for me was that Australia played it as well, with O'Connor and To'omua. And so when we talk about this as a tactical, technical thing, Mills, the way I see it, and maybe we need to really dig into this a bit. So what I see is you have one playmaker that might be involved in the first play, he might not be in position, and then the second playmaker comes up and takes over the football team. Saw that a lot with the Australians, and I think they lost a little bit of direction when To'omua went off. With the All Blacks, it looks like a different dual playmaker. It sounds to me like, Fozzie said, gives Mo'unga some confidence, good voice at the back, and he can just come in wherever he wants, Beauden. So, I think maybe we need to look at the different ways that you can play this tool, this dual pivot game. Mills, what do you think?
I tell you what, I think we get rid of the dual maker name, because I just think it's not a dual maker at all, because what's happened is we've got two classy, world-class players that can play 10. And the problem you call the dual maker, it actually mixes things up. You've actually got a playmaker in Mo'unga. He's the one. This is what I've seen in the weekend. It took a bit of time because you've got the world's best player that's been playing at fullback, sort of out of position. But what it took a bit of time in it. And actually, I think Barrett's just gone out and said, look, I'm a fullback this week, and I'm going to play in fullback. I'm going to keep the width. If Mo'unga gets caught in there, well, I'm going to step up. So the biggest issue was the other guys, if both of them got stuck in a ruck, going to step up in that first receiver. I'm talking about a good Hugh and Anton Leonard-Brown. So I think we scrapped the dual playmaker. I think what they've actually done is actually established that Mo'unga, you're the driver. You're in the driver's seat. And then, Bodie, you're out wide. And I think that's what we've seen in the weekend.
In the old days, we used to call switch direction from the fullback, right? When we were playing fullback, pure and simply, it was the first five went one way, and then you'd try and read an opportunity to switch the play. Now, with structures that are in place, I think we get to a point sometimes, JK, where we're sticking to structures, and the instinct of our wonderful players, our individual stars, the likes of a Beauden Barrett, a Richie Mo'unga, all of a sudden they get to themselves where they run through the plays, rather than recognising where the opportunities are and playing with a little bit of that instinct and then reacting off them. And to me, the one-on-one ability of our players across the park, the likes of a Caleb Clark, the likes of, like we've said in the past, when you've had a Julian Savea on the left, when guys can explode and create something out of nothing, not restricting them and waiting for the ball to come to them, they go and get the ball. Remember those days, the fact that you don't worry about the system? I see an opportunity, I'll go and get it.
Look, I see it a little bit differently, because I definitely saw two playmakers out there for Australia where it was definite, Mills. You saw O'Connor at first receiver a lot of the times, and then you saw To'omua taking control. I think what we've got is like you said, Beauden would come in out wide and be the distributor out wide, or he would step up. So I think you're possibly right. There are different ways to play it, but I certainly think that the Australians played a more blatant.
I agree.
We did when Ryan Crotty was 12 for us. Yeah. Didn't he play that role that To'omua plays?
Yeah, and
very similar.
And I agree. But if you look at the way the Australians had played, particularly around their structure, they went to the middle of the park. So you're automatically splitting your two centres there. So if you want to use them in that certain way, they automatically become that sort of dual playmaker. I think the All Blacks didn't do that. I think they either ran the same way, they went from wide to wide, and it just really allowed Barrett to say, well, I'm distinguishing the fact that I am actually a fullback. So I think it probably, you're right, it does depend on the actual game plan that the team's going to. And the Wallabies did that. They went to the middle and they had a split role.
Yeah, and I think, like you say, sometimes it depends on who you're playing and whether or not you need to go to a kicking game, which needs to be robust regardless of who you are playing.